What's up guys, it's TalkTalkDragz and today I want to talk about Linux again because I switched to Linux and look, I'm not going to be on it forever. I won't be on it forever, but for now I will be on Linux Mint XFCE and I switched to it like 2 days ago, so I haven't really got a chance to actually properly see how different it is to Windows, but you know, I can already see some differences. And how I switched to it, obviously, it was quite easy to switch to, really. I just needed to install the ISO image onto a USB stick and then just uh, basically run it from the boot manager and then install it. So there wasn't really, it wasn't really hard to install. It's probably one of the easier ones to install, actually. But the reason why I switched to it is because basically, look, I'm not having the same amount of crazy problems that most people are having with Windows. You know, most people are saying that, like, everywhere they go, it's just bloat and, like, AI stuff. I haven't noticed that, but one thing I have noticed is that it's been really eating at my RAM. And, you know, I can't remember what the exact numbers were, but it was like something like, I can't remember what, it was like some statistic, like, available physical memory. No, it wasn't available physical memory. It was like, not the total installed RAM, but like total physical memory that's like accessible, and then the actual available physical memory that was left for me to use was obviously it's going to always be lower, but it was so much lower. It was very, very low, my available physical memory, and I was like, that's not right. I was like, I don't care what operating system, no operating system should be using that much of your RAM. So I just thought, look, until I actually upgrade my computer, because I will be upgrading my computer at some point, I'm going to have to just switch to Linux probably, because that is ridiculous. So I switched to Linux Mint XFCE because it's one of the most lightweight ones. And I did switch to it before on a different laptop, but I switched to it again on my current computer because it's a very lightweight one. And my main concern moving to it was software, but so far the only actual problem I've had with software is finding a good video editor, because usually I just use CapCut, but that's not available on Linux, so that's been a bit annoying, but I will be able to find a way around that surely. And then of course, obviously there are the positives as well, like it uses much less of your RAM, it runs much faster, it doesn't lag anymore as much, because I'm sorry, that the amount of RAM that Windows was using, it was just ridiculous. But yeah, so far the Linux experience, of course, it's been smooth. Sometimes it has been a bit annoying, especially because I had a problem, and I had this problem when I first installed it on that laptop. I'm literally looking at it right now. That for some reason, when I used it the first time, the Wi-Fi was fine, and then suddenly when I got back on it, the Wi-Fi just wasn't connecting, and I was trying to fix it. I was trying to do all sorts of things to fix it, and it just wasn't working. And then suddenly the next day it was working again, and that's what happened. And I kind of thought that would happen, is that the Wi-Fi just suddenly stopped working. I was like, oh, this happened before, and like I expected, when I got back on it the next day, oh, suddenly the Wi-Fi is working again. So I'm sure there are going to be problems. Obviously, Linux is much less user friendly than Windows, but you find ways around it eventually. You're not just going to be stuck forever, really. You'll eventually find a way to get past it. But yeah, so far the Linux experience it's been much different to Windows. I can't really say that much because it has only been 2 days since I actually switched, so I think I'll have to wait a bit, and then I'll probably say in more detail how different I think everything is. But yeah, so far that has been the Linux Mint XFCE experience. Not really much else to say. I will be back on Windows when I get my new computer, because I think that's going to have more RAM and just better specs in general, so the bloat probably won't be as much as a problem, because you can disable it doesn't have to be shoved in your face. People always complain that AI and stuff is all shoved in your face. You can turn that on, you can minimize that a lot with loads of different settings if you just spend the time sorting out, but it still does eat a lot of your resources, to be fair. But when I get a new computer, I think I'm probably going to just keep it on Windows. But yeah, so far, you know, it's been fine. I think there's not really been any problems with Linux, except for obviously, like I said, the Wi-Fi was being a bit annoying. But yeah, it's been fine so far. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye.